I just found a little hack that will allow you to book Qantas business class reward flights for 30% less points than what it typically costs. In today's video, I'm going to take you through all of the details. I'm going to show you the exact routes that this works on. I'm going to show you how many points you're going to save. I'm even going to show you the exact booking process and the requirements for you to use this hack and save those points. Now, before I go into all of those details, if these videos are helpful, would appreciate a like, comment, and if you subscribe to the channel. Now with that out of the way, let's get straight into today's video. So you can see here in front of me, I have all of the reward flights available from Sydney to Paris. Now I use Qantas flights for this, but I could do this search on the Qantas website. For me personally, anytime I'm finding reward seats, I'm using Qantas flights because it just gives me a very clean way to find all of the reward availability in a matter of seconds, as opposed to stumbling around on the Qantas frequent flyer website. If you do want to sign up to Qantas flights, check out my referral code in the video description. But the gist of it is you can see here these typical reward seats that have just dropped from Qantas. I did make a video on this a couple of days ago. Sydney to Paris on Qantas aircrafts, 166,300 Qantas points. Now to be honest, this is a pretty good value rate anyway. Usually if we were going to pay cash to book these sort of flights, it would typically set us back around $9,000. But when we use Qantas points, 166,300 Qantas points and $637 in flight fees. To be honest, if you just had Qantas points, this is still amazing value, but in today's video I am going to show you how you can get that 30% cheaper. Now, in order to get these reward flights 30% cheaper and be able to book them for about 115,000 points, you are going to need AMEX membership points or pay.com.au points. When we have these type of points, we can transfer them from AMEX or pay.com.au and we can transfer them to Cathay Pacific's airline loyalty program, which will convert into Asia miles. This is the key for booking these Qantas flights for 30% less compared to what we would usually be able to book them on the Qantas website. You can see here I'm on the Cathay Pacific frequent flyer program, and when I type in those same flight details, so Sydney to Paris, one way, business class, and I put in that data that I saw before, so the 2nd of February, which if we go back here, you can see that there are reward seats available here on the 2nd of February. Going back here on the Cathay Pacific website, if I have all of those details in and I click on redeem flights, you can see that once this data has loaded here, it's telling me that I can book these same flights for 115,000 Asia miles. 115,000 Asia miles. If I click on flight details here, it's going to tell me the exact flight details. Qantas Airways, this is a Qantas aircraft from Sydney, stopping over in Perth and arriving in Paris. This is the exact same seat that I could book with Qantas points, and instead of paying 166,300,000 Qantas points, I'm able to book these same flights for 115,000 Asia miles. Cathay Pacific actually are a one world partner, meaning that we can book these Qantas flights using Cathay Pacific Asia miles. But if you're Australian, it's unlikely that you're directly earning Cathay Pacific Asia miles. Instead, the most popular way on having access to this frequent flyer program is probably going to be if you have bank membership reward points. For me personally, that is with AMEX points. When I have American Express membership reward points, I can then transfer them onto Cathay Pacific. Now, something very important to mention with having AMEX membership reward points is that from the 15th of December, this conversion ratio is actually going to increase. Right now, before the 15th of December, the conversion ratio is 2 American Express membership reward points will convert to 1 Asia mile, but from the 15th of December, this will increase to 3 AMEX membership reward points to 1 Asia mile. Now, a couple of things to mention on this note. One is that you could always transfer your AMEX points to Asia miles before the 15th of December, and then you're still going to be able to book those reward seats at that rate. It's only after you're transferring your AMEX points after the 15th of December is when you're going to get hit by that devaluation. If you were going to do that, I would always recommend trying to book some sort of reward seats ASAP. The key benefit of having AMEX points is the ability to transfer to different airlines depending on which airline have the reward availability, and once we make that transfer to an airline, we are then trapped within that ecosystem. We are then at the mercy of that airline, so if they change their reward availability or they remove all those reward seats, we're stuck in there. To minimize that risk, book reward seats ASAP, take advantage of the value of points that you're going to get. Don't wait forever just because you've transferred your points in that airline loyalty program. Get those seats booked. Now, the great thing that I've found with having Cathay Pacific points is that there's typically a bit more reward availability, particularly from flights from Australia to Europe. You can see here I've just searched Sydney to Paris flights with Qantas for the month of July, and there are no reward seats. But if I jump back here on the Cathay Pacific site, there are actually a few different dates here for the month of July where I'm able to book these business class reward seats for 115,000 Asia miles. Now, most of these reward flights that are on Cathay Pacific will be on Cathay Pacific aircrafts. I'm a pretty big fan of Cathay Pacific business class product anyway, so this is a pretty decent deal. The only thing is navigating their site is not the best experience. They don't really have like a clean multi-city search tool or a calendar tool that will allow us to search through these dates pretty effectively. You do have to just scroll through using these arrows here, but it is giving us a little preview on which dates will have reward seat availability. The other thing to note with the devaluation that is happening on the 15th of December is it's not really the end of the world. As I ran through the maths just before, we're already getting a 30% discount compared to what we could book those same flights on with Qantas points, meaning 166,000 points is required if I was to book with Qantas points, but right now 115,000 Asia miles is required to book those same flights. After the devaluation, it's very similar to the price that you would pay using Qantas points. It's going to be a touch more expensive compared to using Qantas points, but as I just showed you, sometimes Cathay Pacific have more reward availability compared to Qantas anyway. So sure, you might be paying a few thousand points more compared to having Qantas points, but you're going to unlock more reward availability. Sometimes it's not a matter of having the best value for your points, and instead it's just a matter of being able to actually use those points. Now, this doesn't just work for Sydney to Paris, this will also work for many other different flights as well. You can see here Sydney to Hong Kong. Given Hong Kong is Cathay Pacific's key airport, the reward availability for this particular destination is great, and it's also giving us availability with these little seat emojis as well. It is very useful to help us find these reward seats. You can see these little green emojis here indicating that there are plenty of reward seats available, and when I use my Cathay Pacific miles on this particular flight, it's only going to cost me 58,000 Asia miles, compared to if I was booking Sydney to Hong Kong using Qantas points, that would cost me 90,000 Qantas points. I'm going to be able to book that same business class flight that I would be booking typically for 90,000 Qantas points, but for 58,000 Cathay Pacific miles. But after the 15th of December, when that devaluation occurs from AMEX points, those values will be pretty similar. It's going to cost roughly the same amount of points. The only advantage to having the Cathay Pacific miles is obviously there were going to be more reward seats available directly on Cathay Pacic's airline loyalty program compared to having Cathay Pacific as a partner and booking with Qantas points. Now, in an ideal world, you'll be booking these flights before the 15th of December, but as I've showed you, it's not really the end of the world if you're still using this strategy after the 15th of December. It just means you won't be saving 30% value. You'll be booking for roughly the same sort of amount of value, but you're very likely going to increase the reward availability that you've got access to anyway. Now, another way that you can earn Cathay Pacific points is by having pay.com.au integrate with your business. For me personally, pay.com.au is an absolute staple if you're a business owner and you want to maximize the amount of frequent flyer points that you're earning within your business. You can pay pretty much any business expense using this platform. It's the platform that I personally use, and when you have pay.com.au points, you're going to access all of these different airline loyalty programs. Some of them you can't even access with AMEX points. Key ones like Japan Airlines, Air Canada Aeroplane, and also United Airlines as well. But you're going to get plenty of the staple airlines in there like Qantas, Velocity, and also Cathay Pacific. If you do want to sign up to that, link is in the video description. I hope today's video was helpful to you. If you do need any more advanced help, check out the link in the video description to my Patreon group. Inside there, I help my members book the very best business and first class reward seats using their Qantas and Velocity points. I also have in-depth training modules in there. Hope to see you in the group. I'll see you in the next video.